Alright guys, so today we're going to be checking out my winter bug out bag, which is essentially a winter camping pack. So let's get to it. This video was brought to you in part by Silky Saws, the sharpest, fastest cutting and most capable saws for survivalists, bushcrafters, and preppers. Go check them out on CanadianPreparedness.com. And don't forget to click the bell icon to be notified when new videos are posted. Enjoy the video.
Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. So today we're going to be checking out the winter bug out bag. Now I want to first off say, more often than not, I'm using a pulk or a sled to transport this, but I'll oftentimes still put everything into a bag. I've been using a Ortlieb bag, which is a very large waterproof duffel bag lately, but for many years I've had this Osprey Argon 85. They don't make them anymore. I think they've been replaced with the Osprey Zenith, which is a very large pack. This is an 85-liter pack. I'm going to talk more about that in a bit. Now, this isn't necessarily a bug out bag, but for me, bugging out anything short of going to a hotel or going to another town, going to a family member's place, you're probably going to be going out somewhere into the boonies. So in winter time, it's a much different type of situation because a lot of bug out bags on YouTube are geared towards summer. Now, we've had temperatures here south of minus 30 degrees Celsius. In fact, we hit minus 36 the other day. With the wind chill factor on top of it, it's about minus 45. So very, very cold temperatures. So packing for winter is much different than packing for summer. You're going to need a lot more gear, essentially. And most of that's going to boil down to gear which is related to shelter, clothing, and a way to keep yourself warm. So a lot of the gear that you're going to see in this pack is for that purpose. But the benefit of winter is that you can use a sled to pull your gear, and thus you can take more gear with minimal energy expenditure. Now, the other thing I should mention with this pack is that this is primarily geared towards my own lone wolf camping, me and Marshall. When my son gets a little older, he'll come out. When my daughter gets a little older, she'll come out. My wife's not a big camper, so it's pretty much me doing most of this wilderness stuff. I hope to bring them on board more and more at some point. So many people can be served, sheltered, and fed out of the gear within this pack. So while it's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of firepower, and you're going to see I have some big tools that I bring, but that's because if you're heading out to the wilderness and say something like harvesting wood, that is going to be one of the main occupations that you have. That's where you're going to expend most of your energy. So it makes perfect sense to bring out a tool that's going to allow you to do that faster. And yes, it's going to weigh more, but once you get to your destination, you can obviously do a lot more. So yeah, you could say, well, just go out and build an igloo or a Kinsey or something like that. But realistically, you know, that's no way to thrive, even barely survive. You know, I don't want to just be barely surviving. I want there to be a certain level of comfort to this, not just playing bushcraft out in the wilderness. So there's a lot of gear I'm going to show you. This is what I normally would use when I winter camp. And bear in mind that I would be pulling this on a sled more often than not. But this Osprey pack is probably one of the most ergonomic backpacks. The thing about civilian backpacks is that they're made for comfort, and they're lightweight, relatively speaking, compared to large military packs. So you can see the thickness of these shoulder straps, thick, custom molded pads. It's got really lightweight wired external frame. So it's a very, very, very comfortable backpack. Everything about this is made for comfort. So I can comfortably carry up to 70 pounds on this thing for significant periods of time. Obviously, you're going to want to lean up against a tree every few hundred meters or something like that to catch your breath. But I can carry a lot of weight with this thing. And Osprey next to Arc'teryx probably makes some of the best civilian backpacks, so I would strongly encourage you to check them out. I have absolutely no affiliation with them whatsoever, by the way. So this top portion is also a detachable lumbar pack. So if I wanted to, I could detach this and use this as like a day pack. And in here, I just have a lot of freeze-dried food. Probably enough freeze-dried food to last one person 4 days. If you stretch it out, you could probably last it a week. Obviously, you could make it last longer if you wanted to, but to live any sort of comfortable lifestyle, maybe 4 or 5 days. So that's all I really have in there. I also keep a knife in here, which is currently on my person. This knife is just a Mora Light My Fire knife. I got it on sale at Cabela's, and it has a fire steel in it. Very sharp. I think it's stainless steel, made in Sweden. So it's a cool little knife, you know, just kind of a camp knife. And of course, on the side, I have the Katana Boy 650. As many of you know, we sell these at CanadianPreparedness.com. This is the best folding saw that money can buy, the largest. If you want to harvest a lot of wood, like the bigger logs you see here with minimal energy expenditure, and you're planning on camping out for a long period of time, clearing trails, you put this on your quad, you put this on your sled. This is one of the most advanced saws in the world. On the outside here, I actually have a Canadian military ration that a friend of mine gave me to try out. He's trying to convert me. So we're gonna try this out later on today. It's probably gonna suck, to be honest. I really don't like MREs. The outside of the pack here, I have my Zippo hand warmer. This actually should be inside, but it was activated, so I didn't want to put it inside the pack. But these things, they're much better than your disposable hand warmers. They're gonna last a lot longer. They generate a lot more heat. And yeah, so I would strongly recommend the Zippo hand warmers. It's not something you're gonna really want to put in your glove unless you have a big pair of Skidoo gloves or something like that. But you can keep it in your pocket and periodically warm up your hands like that. Okay, so as indicated, shelter. So this is my teepee tent. This is probably one of the most essential parts of the kit, shelter. Now, this is very lightweight, it's very strong, very durable. This is made by a company called Seek Outside. I did a review of it, which was rather critical. After using it for a little over a year now, I think that it's pretty good. You know, I mean, it's held up, it's very durable, I can give it that much. I haven't been easy on this thing at all, and I've spent many nights in it, and it's in very crappy conditions also. This thing is durable as heck. So Seek Outside, mind you, it is very expensive. It's about $1,000 price point. But like I say, this is something you need. You basically need it to survive. I mean, you can sleep in a tent, but the comfort level there is not going to be good, especially if you want to be out foraging and hunting and you want to come back to a warm camp at night. You're going to need something like this. That's just all there is to it. Now you can go to Far North Bushcraft and Survival's YouTube channel. He makes one out of a tarp, so there is that option. You can do that, you know, but for those of you who are, quite frankly, lazy like me and pressed for time, this is what I'm doing. It's the lightweight option. This is a Thermoreactor sleeping bag liner. So this is going to add, they say, an extra 20 degrees or something like that, or 15 degrees of warmth to your sleeping bag. I would say it probably adds another 10 or so, which is good enough. Because as you're going to see, I have a lot of other sleeping implements. I'm just going to stoke this fire here a bit. Now sometimes I'll even bring a felling axe like this, and the axe is such that it can actually fit on the side of the pack there like that. Uh-oh, all American prepper is going to be upset. I'm such a sissy right now. Okay, so next up is a portable cot. Now I bought this from some Chinese company on Amazon. Works pretty darn good for the $50 price point and the ability to keep yourself off the ground. This is much better than a thermarest or an inflatable, which is going to slowly drain throughout the night. In my opinion, this is worth its weight because it's going to keep you off the ground, so you're not going to lose a lot of heat to conduction off the ground. So definitely another great asset. You're going to find that probably 60% of my gear is all about shelter and keeping warm. Now in here I have some yak tracks. You put these on your boots and they enable really good grip. So this is probably something I'd be wearing, but I don't need it right now because it's not that icy. So I just put it in there. I probably could have a better pouch than this, but I got this pouch from one of those stupid monthly subscription boxes that they sent me. So got to put it to use. This is part of the titanium wood stove. I've reviewed this wood stove. It's by Liteoutdoors. I did give it a very critical review. So it's only for emergency purposes that would I ever use that particular stove, because it's just not that reliable in the long term. Every time you take it down and set it up, it gets more and more warped. And I've done an extensive review on it, which is not to trash talk the company or anything, because I think it's a great idea. What they've attempted to do is make an ultra light titanium wood stove, something that can keep you alive in temperatures down to -30 and below, but only weighs 3 pounds. That's incredible. So, and it will do that. It's just that it's not going to last you that long. It doesn't have the staying power. Now here's the other part of that. This is the actual stove and the stove pipe chimney. So 3 pounds. So it goes in my truck just as an emergency thing. But normally I'd be using that Knico Woodstove because I'd be packing all this out on a sled. So that's definitely going to be my go-to stove from here on in. It's much more reliable. It's easier to set up. This thing is a pain in the butt to set up in the field, but if you had to, you could. And it's lightweight. This is just a sill tarp. So just an extra tarp, takes almost no weight, almost no space whatsoever. Worth having. Once again, a little pricey. If you want to go ultra light, you're going to be paying. This is probably a $150 tarp, and it's also from Liteoutdoors. More shelter. I picked this up at Wholesale Sports when they were going out of business. I think I got it for like 60% off or something, so I couldn't pass it up. I mean, normally it's like a $200 thing, and I think I got it for about 80 bucks Canadian. So it's the Mountain Safety Research Windburner. Works just like the Jetboil, a little bit faster, a little bit more efficient, slightly larger pot so you can carry the larger isobutane canisters. I believe that's what it uses in there, which is what I liked about it. So you can carry a larger fuel canister, which is great. Does your cooking taken care of, and you could cook on the wood stove, but this one is not very sturdy. So if I had my Knico, I would most certainly be able to cook on that. Of course, no bug out bag would be complete without the bug out roll, and this thing is fully loaded, so we're going to go through the contents of it in a bit. The only other thing I have in here is a trusty wool blanket. So this is what I'm going to be putting down usually between the cot and myself. So I also have a sleeping bag that I'm going to put on top of this. And that's basically it. And additionally, I have some socks and underwear in there. And that's pretty much, like you can see, 70% of the pack, maybe not 70%, about 60% is just shelter, clothing, how to stay warm, cooking, and of course food. Now, all of the other little trinkets are in the bug out roll. So let's unroll the roll and see what's in there. Now, some of you might be wondering what my self-defense tool is going to be. Well, it's going to be a GUN. I don't want to show it in the video because that might lead to the video not being monetized and, quite frankly, not getting the airplay that I think it should. So I'm not going to show it, but the GUN that I use is a Chiappa M6. It has two different types of ammo that it uses. It can use 10 gauge and also 22 Magnum. So it's an over-under type configuration, and it's a single shot. Well, you get two shots because you get one of the 22 and one of the, sorry, not 10 gauge, I said 10 gauge, 20 gauge. 10 gauge would be crazy. It's a bit more versatile than the Henry AR, so that's why I went with that. And yeah, I've done a review on that as well. I may post a link in the description for that one, but just check out Canadian Prepper Chiappa M6 online. All right, so we have the SAS Survival Guide, which I also have on my phone, which, as I'm going to show you, I have a way to power indefinitely. So that honestly doesn't necessarily need to be there, but it's always good to have a hard copy, I guess. I have some Zippo lighter fluid, which is for the hand warmers, and you should be able to get at least a dozen uses out of one of these. So, and each one lasts 12 hours, so, you know, could potentially last you 7 days if used properly. And that could also be used as a fire starter, of course. I have the Backtracks GPS device, which is a very simple bare bones GPS. It just basically points you into the direction of the waypoint that you input or that you log. I also have a Baofeng radio, some spare batteries for the GPS. I have a compass, a signal mirror, a Right in the Rain notepad. Remember, if you want one of these bug out rolls, go check out CanadianPreparedness.com. This stuff here, this vinyl, is cold crack and UV resistant. So this, I've tested this down to like -30, and how many people really camp in -30 anyways? So in here I have a lot of various toiletries. I have my toilet paper tablets, I have the toilet paper discs, and the toilet paper pucks. So 3 different sizes of compressed towels in there, contact lenses, toothbrush, you know, things of that nature. In here, this is kind of the fire section. This is some great stuff by Production Hanger 51. It's a fire tinder. It's pretty much the fat rope in a powdered form. Not in a powdered form, but just in a unraveled string-like form. Very waxy material. It's what I used to start this fire. Actually, I used fat rope to start the fire. I have some stormproof matches in there, Bic lighter, some wet fire, just a variety of different ways. I also have some alcohol, some hand sanitizer. So I have some fat rope in here. Another way to light fires, just some bare bones first aid supplies, blister medic. I have a clotting sponge just in case I got impaled somehow. Some masks, some polysporin wrapped in duct tape so it doesn't break in here and go all over the place. I've had that happen. I should probably replace that. It's running low. So here I got some hand warmers, toe warmers, body warmers. You can stick those to your body. They're going to keep you warm. What this is going to allow you to do is need less food, because for every 15 minutes of shivering, it's several hundred calories burned. So if you can raise your core body temperature, that means you have to carry less food. And it could be the difference between needing 6,000 calories a day to maintain your current body weight or needing only 4,000. So in here I have ammo for the Chiappa M6. We got the 20 gauge and the Magnum WMR. Here I have a mask from RZ Mask. This is not only for face protection in the cold, but it can also act as a scent block. It can block out bad air. This has an activated carbon filter, so if you needed to do any work and it was dusty or something like that, has a variety of different uses. binoculars, a tactical pen, which probably realistically I'm not going to need in the wilderness, but it's cool. So all American prepper decided to put it in there. I have the Olight H2R Nova. I have a stick of the fat wood by the same company that makes the fat rope and this ultimate fire tinder. I also have a little container here with Tylenol, caffeine pills, and some ibuprofen, just in case I was injured. I have a pen launcher for my bear banger, which is just a tool which you use to scare away bears. It makes a very loud gunshot type sound, and it could also, you know, work in the very same way to scare off somebody, you know, to make them think you had a gun if you didn't. That's something you could use as a decoy of sorts, but of course it's going to attract a lot of attention to you if you use it. I also have emergency flares for it, so that would be the primary reason I would have it, is because I do have signal flares and it launches them in the air and it creates a very bright light. Not very bright, but if it was nighttime you could see it. In here I have a variety of different ways to fix things. I have some big heavy duty zip ties. I have a tent repair gear aid kit, carabiner, some reflective tape, some galvanized wire, some paracord. In here I have Olight flashlights. I have quite a few flashlights. You can never have enough flashlights in the field, I find. So I have the R1, I have the S1 Baton, and I have the H1R Nova, which brings my lighting capabilities to 4 flashlights, and most of these can be used with this head strap here. They all take either CR123 batteries or the 18650 battery that I can recharge via this little gadget here that I showed off the other day. Basically this USB cable here, attach the battery, this to each side of the battery, and you can charge your devices through the method that I'm going to show you in a minute. I also have this Sole emergency bivvy, and you might be wondering, well, why the heck do you need that if you have all these other shelter options? Well, in such case that the shelter failed, or I couldn't get the wood stove assembled properly, or something happened, putting this over top of my sleeping bag and my wool blanket would pretty much seal the deal. I could pretty much stay warm in almost any condition if I did that. So that could be very much a lifesaver. Now in terms of my fixed blade, I do have a couple more. I got another little flashlight here, always on my person. It's just always there. I also have this little Kershaw fixed blade knife, which I picked up at Wholesale Sports going out of business. I got a lot of sweet deals when that went down. This is just a fixed blade SOG seal pup. I actually bought the field pup, but I lost it when I was hunting this year. And Swiss Army knife. Honestly, I'd much prefer a Leatherman in here, but whatever. Tecsun shortwave weather band AM FM radio. Another emergency blanket, because you can't have enough of those out here. This I'll talk about in a minute. I also have the Bear Flare, which is a self-defense tool, but it's also a way to signal, it's a way to start fires, and this thing burns incredibly bright. This is not like your average road flare, so you're only going to get 1 minute of burn time on this, but it is going to be very bright. You can see it probably for miles and miles away, and it's going to scare off a predator, give you enough time to get out of dodge. It's going to let off a lot of heat, so if it approached you, you could actually burn it. And not the same as a road flare. Road flare is going to burn for, I don't know, like a couple hours or something like that, but not near the amount of power as that would have. Now, I don't want to say too much about this, but this is hands down one of the most convenient charging systems I've ever used. And most systems for solar power require you to get your solar panels, get your battery pack, get your stuff connected all. This is the complete package, and all I have to do to charge it is go like that. The battery is in here. I believe this stores 18,000 milliamps of power. It has probably, I'm guessing, 18650 batteries in there. As you can see right there, it's charging. How cool is that? And there's no light. There's absolutely no light right now. It's totally overcast and this thing is charging. How cool is that? That's power film for you. Thin film amorphous solar panels function excellent in low light conditions. Even if I was blocking part of it like that, it would still be charging, unlike a monocrystalline panel that pretty much needs the full sunlight and it needs to be totally unobstructed. This thing functions damn near functions when it's rolled up. It's amazing technology. This thing will fully charge on 8 hours of good sunlight, which is excellent when you think about it. So you can probably get 5 or 6 cell phone charges out of one. Actually, realistically, you're gonna get 4 or 5 cell phone chargers because most modern cell phones take about 3000 milliamp hours. It also has a 12 volt output. It's very compatible with the roll, and when you're done, you just roll it up. And don't be fooled by this material. It's very thick, it's very durable, but it's very flexible. And you can hang it in a variety of ways. Like I say, I'm going to do a dedicated review of this item in the near future, so stay tuned for that. So moving down here, we have some Titan Survivor cord. Did a review on that. Here I have the Bear Flare, Bear Bangers, and whatnots. So I have some fishing tackle in here for ice fishing. Now the thing is, with ice fishing, you're going to have to dig a hole, obviously. And unless I had my large pulk, I wouldn't be able to take an ice auger for something like this. You can get an ice chisel, which is still pretty big, but you probably could, use a larger size portable chisel or some kind of thing that you could chip away at the ice with. But of course, that's very dangerous. So I'm banking on not having to ice fish. And if I did have to procure some food, it would be hunting game with the Chiappa M6. Now, of course, in here, we got the Silky Nada, which just barely fits in the roll. And as you can see here, I don't have the hard use section on here. I've been testing out just using the optical sections. So yeah, and of course I have the big boy with an extra blade. And you might be wondering, Nate, you got a Katana Boy 650, what do you need the big boy for? Well, the Katana Boy is for the big stuff. This is for the small stuff. This is going to be used just as much as the Katana Boy, probably more, which is why I have the extra blade in there. So that's pretty much everything I would need to camp in relative comfort for many days on end. So, like I said, if you want information on any of this stuff, check out the links in the description. All that information is there to be had. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And if you want Silky Saws, bug out rolls, CanadianPreparedness.com. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.